各位记者朋友，大家下午好，欢迎。
Friends from the media, good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference. Now the floor is open for questions.
中文国际频道记者提问：近期，澳大利亚中国工商业委员会
Question. Months ago, the Australia-China Business Council released a report on the economic impact of trade with China on Australian households. The report shows that Australia's trade intensity with China increased average Australian household disposable income by an average of 2,600 Australian dollars in the financial year 2022 to 2023, which equates to 4.6% of the average household disposable income. Two-way trade with China contributed to 595,600 jobs in Australia, which costs 4.2% of Australians' household. The greater proportion of Australia's import from China account for in its total imports, the more Australians' cost of living will be cut, was China's comment. China noted ACBC's report. The facts and statistics in the report reveal the enormous benefits the trade with China delivers to the Australian people and the win-win nature of China-Australia trade ties. This once again demonstrates that China's development is an opportunity but not a challenge to Australia. China and Australia have a lot to offer each other's economy and are natural partners. China is now further deepening reform across the board and advancing Chinese modernization, which will offer more opportunities to China-Australia cooperation. The two countries share a promising future for cooperation. Beefing up cooperation will turn our complementary advantages into a strong driving force for our common development, keep global industrial and supply chains stable and unimpeded, and more importantly, give a significant boost to the sustained economic recovery of the two countries, the region, and the wider world. China stands ready to work with Australia to take the 10th anniversary of the comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries as a new beginning, implement the important common understandings between the leaders of the two countries, and the deliverables of Premier Li Qiang's visit to Australia this June explore new cooperation areas, make the pie of mutually beneficial cooperation bigger, and deliver more benefits to the two peoples. Next question.
还有其他问题吗？
法新社提问。
AFP, Russian and many Western countries swapped prisoners, including a journalist from Wall Street Journal. What's China's comment on that?
我们注意到有关的报道。
We noted the media reports. The US and Russia are permanent members of the UN Security Council and major countries with influence. We hope the two countries can resolve the issues in their bilateral relations through communication and dialogue, which would be conducive to regional and global peace and stability. Next question.
谢谢发言人。中国日报记者提问：日前，以色列对黎巴嫩首
Israel launched an airstrike on the southern suburb of Lebanon's capital, Beirut, several days ago. The death toll has risen to 7. And more than 80 people were wounded in the attack. We noted that countries including Lebanon, Russia, Iran, and Syria have condemned the attack. Any comments on this? Does China condemn the attack? China condemns all acts that harm civilians. We are deeply concerned over the current situation and call on relevant parties to remain calm, exercise restraint, and avoid further escalation of the tensions. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。北京日报记者提问：据报道，东帝汶总统奥尔
It was reported that President of Timor-Leste said his priority for cooperation with China would be sectors like health, education, and agriculture. If China is to deliver to Timor-Leste in 5 years of extreme poverty, he will be externally grateful. Timor-Leste is not caught up in the major country rivalry, and he said that the irony is the country with a military presence in Timor-Leste is not China, it is 3 Western countries. What is China's comment? How would you comment on the outcomes of the president's visit?
This week, President of Timor-Leste, José Ramos Horta, just concluded the state visit to China. During the visit, President Xi Jinping had talks with him. Premier Li Qiang and Chairman Zhao Leji met with him respectively. The two sides reached broad, important consensus and issued a joint statement on strengthening comprehensive strategic partnership. Both China and Timor-Leste will carry forward the fine tradition of mutual trust and win-win cooperation and strive for a general direction of building the China-Timor-Leste community with a shared future. The two countries agreed to jointly uphold regional peace, development, and prosperity, oppose coupling together any exclusive groupings in the region, promote an equal and orderly multipolar world, and a universally beneficial and inclusive economic globalization, and advance the building of a community with a shared future for mankind. President José Ramos Horta's remarks demonstrate once again that peace and development is the aspiration of countries in the region, and hegemonism and power politics will not be popular among the people. China follows a path of peaceful development, treats other countries as equals regardless of their size, strives for common development in the region, and will, as always, firmly support the people of Timor-Leste in choosing the development path best suited to their national circumstances. China stands ready to work with Timor-Leste and other countries in the region to keep the region peaceful and stable and promote solidarity and cooperation. Next question.
谢谢发言人，我是凤凰卫视的记者。日前，美国内政部发布了联邦印第安人寄宿学校真相倡议项目调查报告第2卷。
Question. The U.S. Department of the Interior released the second volume of the Federal Indian Boarding School Initiative Investigative Report, which points out that nearly 1,000 indigenous children died while attending boarding school operated or supported by the U.S. government, and that many indigenous children suffered from physical abuse and were forced to change beliefs and punished for using their native languages. All these left intergenerational trauma on the indigenous community, was China's comment. China noted the report. The U.S. was founded on the tear and blood of Native Americans. The maltreatment of indigenous people is the U.S. original sin convicted by the Indian boarding schools. The U.S. in the past committed cultural, spiritual, and physical genocide of Native Americans, who even till today are the invisible community and the despairing minority. Regrettably, the U.S. has long been invading and trying to cover its poor track record. On top of that, it has been spreading disinformation against other countries on so-called forced labor and forced assimilation under the pretext of human rights, turning a blind eye to the unprecedented humanitarian crisis in Gaza, and behaving unscrupulously under the protection of extraterritoriality of the U.S. military to commit gruesome crimes in other countries, such as killing civilians and abusing inmates. Is the U.S. really sincere in reflecting on its historic crimes? Or is it just stonewalling in the face of pressure? Is the U.S. releasing the report to learn lessons or stock-taking another kind of experience to advance its geopolitical agenda? The historical injustice long suffered by the Native Americans must receive full and serious attention, and the human rights abuses inflicted by the U.S. in the world must be addressed. The U.S. needs to draw lessons from history, take a hard look at its track record, stop its human rights abuses and using human rights as a pretext to interfere in other countries' internal affairs, and stop creating any more human rights tragedies. Next question.
谢谢。深圳卫视直新闻提问。据报道，中印尼高铁公司近日宣布，印尼司机已能够驾驶时速达300。
Question. According to reports, the China-Indonesia high-speed railway company recently announced that the Indonesia drivers are now able to drive the trains of the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railways at a speed of 350 kilometers per hour. This marks an important progress in the training progress and the maintenance for this railway project, laying the foundation to achieve the operation and maintenance, was China's comment. Since successful operation of this high-speed railway, the two teams have made great and comprehensive cooperation in the operation management, personnel training, and technological transfer. It's learned that this Chinese team has completed the training of over 160 personnel of the Indonesia, and Indonesia already has its own team expert team, and we are very happy that this is a very good reflection of the mutually beneficial cooperation and reflect the idea of joint consultation and shared contribution and benefits. China is ready to work with Indonesia to make the high quality operation and make it a path of prosperity, happiness, and growth. Any other questions?
如果没有其他问题的话，最后我要发布一则通。
Now I will release a piece of notice. The regular press conference of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will be in recess from Monday, August 5th to Friday, August 16th, and resume on Monday, August 19th. During the recess, journalists may raise questions to the spokesperson's office by fax, email, or WeChat. Notice on any special press briefing will be put on the website of the IPC. Wish all media friends a pleasant summer.